All right, so I thought I was done for the day, but I'm not. So I got to talk about Ian Garry, his fight, and then I got to show you some very notable new content that I found completely by happenstance of Layla Anna Lee that relates directly to this huge WAG thing that started this entire avalanche of negativity going in their direction. And I can promise you, this is very notable for people's impression of that story about the How to Be a WAG book. So I'm going to show you guys that, and that's what we're going to do. All right, so fair warning, I first filmed the Ian Garry's fight portion of this video, then I filmed the WAG portion, but I figure you guys probably want to see the WAG stuff first, so I reversed them. So if it sounds like there's weird tensing and I'm referencing things you haven't seen yet, it's because I took the two portions and I flopped them. So watch the WAG stuff. If it sounds like I'm making a reference to a video or part of the video that you haven't seen, just, it's coming later. It's like Inception. It's Memento. So best practice is if you hear something and you don't know what it means, tattoo it on yourself. And then when it comes back, you reference the tattoos and bam, you know exactly what I was saying. And if you do not know that reference, it probably sounded pretty weird. And that means that you should turn this video off and go watch the movie Memento because it's much better quality than this. Actually, watch this first and then go watch Memento. But now let's talk about the future of his life with his wife and all of these things that have been floating around the Ian Machado Garry household. Oh my God, I forgot he took her last name too. Jeez, man. I mean, I don't know how anyone would have expected the internet to not cuck him to death, dude. Wait, you took her last name? He's like, I did. And they're like, she wrote a book about how to be a WAG. Yep, that's true. And she moved her ex-husband, one of her sexual partners, into your house. That's right. You take those facts and it looks bad. It looks bad, right? It looks bad. But I did say that there is a way that I could explain all of this. I played it both ways. I did a video where I played it both ways, right? I was like, all right, so here is worst case scenario. And I laid out a thing where she is literally just setting up to him getting a big contract so she can divorce him and take all the cash, behind his back. Her and the ex are I like how Ian does it, but I love how you do it too. It's different, worst case scenario. But best case scenario, what she said about the WAG book being a joke was a joke because that is exactly what she said. Keep this in mind. When the WAG book, she only responded publicly like once, and she did a video and she was like, guys, I did the How to Be a WAG book. It was a fucking joke. She's like, it was a joke. That's not real. It was a joke. Okay. So let's say that was a joke. Two, that's point number one. Point number two, Ian asked to do the last name because he wants the kids to have the same last name. I'm like, all right, I can respect that for the kids. And then ex-husband, right? He travels around. Maybe that's the only way they could figure out a seamless way for keeping her kids, like the kids she has with him and the kid that she has with him together, was to hire the guy and then have him travel around the world. I would have had a real tough time with that one personally. Now, spoiler, this would be the moment where Layla Anna Lee would be like, you want to know why he wouldn't feel comfortable with that, Ian? It's because he's not man enough. He is uncomfortable because he's too insecure. Not like you, big boy. There is not another man on earth who has shown more bravery and confidence than you when you let that man move into the house, showing that you're that secure. And you could show how secure you are by hitting subscribe and liking this video, and then maybe even comment. Tell me if the next thing I show you changes your opinion on this entire WAG thing that we've been talking about for months. I found a channel today that was interesting, and it is Layla Anna Lee's YouTube channel. Now, anytime that I talk about Layla Anna Lee, I get a bunch of flack from you guys. They're all, oh my God, he's always like talking about, she's like, stop lusting after Layla Anna Lee. I'm like, okay, let me just once and for all explain this to you guys. Okay, if you were to carve or create the ideal woman that I'm into, like my type out of like thin air, you just like built her out of AI, my absolutely ideal girl, it's my wife, okay? And so to put into perspective what we're talking about, that's my wife, okay? The closer that someone, like the more that someone resembles Gabrielle, the more that my brain is like, man, she looking cool. Okay. Doesn't mean I'm like, oh, hey, Layla, what are you doing, girl? It means I love my wife a lot. So much, in fact, that if girls are kind of like the same type, I'm like, ooh, that girl's looking good. Okay. So you guys can shut up about that. So the How to Be a WAG thing, right? So what did I find that seems extraordinarily relevant right there? Oh, I'm going to get to this guy, by the way, in a second. So I found this video. Okay. So this was 3 years ago. 3 years ago. See? 3 years ago. No way to fake that. 3 years ago. And this was a video of her making fun of footballers' wives and girlfriends. So let's just watch just a little bit of it, because I feel like that might shed some light on whether she was telling the truth when she said the WAG book was a fucking joke, because it 100% was a joke now after seeing this.
For a while now, footballers have pretty much nailed the secrecy of transfers, as long as you don't include the recent Sturridge dramas. They tend to not let much out the bag. Their wives, however, they're not so great. Willian's odds of leaving Chelsea for Arsenal spiked when his wife posted stories on Instagram telling her daughters to try and look excited about the game even though their days are numbered. Her words, not mine.
Okay, you guys get the point, right? Okay. She was making fun of wives and girlfriends. The WAG book 100% was a joke. So think about that. Like, just seriously think about that for a second and try this very challenging thing for a lot of people, to put yourself in the position of a person with a large profile, or, you know, like someone who gets notorious online, and think about how much shit that she took for that WAG book. Okay, where people literally 100% believed, and probably believed until right now, and if you still believe that, that WAG book is real, you are a fucking idiot, because it for sure was a joke. Now, think about the amount of fucking hate and bullshit she took on the internet for the WAG book. Now, you can say what you want about the husband, you know, like about them living, like, whatever. It's, like I said, weird. I have no idea what's going on over there. She could be completely manipulating him, or she could be completely in love with, I have no idea. But just on the WAG book itself, okay, anyone who thought that was real or said anything nasty to her about the How to Be a WAG book, that was hate for no reason. Literally no reason at all. Like, she is exactly what she said. She was like one of these people that like makes she was like a football content chick. And now I wanted to show you this. I mean, like, dude, watch this girl talk. This is the girl that people are harassing online. Like, she seems pretty fucking normal to me, man.
A little bit like a white kit got washed with red socks, but I've got no problem with it. And if you have a problem with it, you should be thankful that you're not a Barcelona fan, because this is their third kit. It's salmon pink, shrimp pink. It's atrocious. Meanwhile, over in the fashion capital of the world, Paris Saint-Germain have announced a collaboration with Michael Jordan's range. The Nike swoosh has now been replaced by the...
Okay, so she's an on-camera performer. Whoa, a weird stopper. But there, oh my God, that was an accident. Jeez. What's up, Layla Anna Lee? I'm just kidding. Okay, so, but here's the point, right? Now, I will tell you guys one thing. There's a clip of her interviewing Darren Till. I'm going to tell you right now, dude, I've seen 2 videos of her interviewing Darren Till, and if I didn't know better, I might think she wanted to smash Darren Till. He's a good-looking lad, and he's dangerous, and she definitely told him as much. Oh, was it scary when you almost got stabbed to death, Darren Till? Do you want to stab me to death with your man meat? What? Just the most visible example. Think about Sean Strickland when he did the video, because Strickland hears from the large group that shit. It's like, dude, this girl wrote a book on how to capture a young athlete and milk his money and then take a divorce. How would Sean know if it's a joke or not, right? I didn't know if it's a joke. How would Sean know it's a joke? Sean has a much bigger platform than these, so he goes on Instagram. He's like, man, we got to save this guy, man. We got to save this guy from this succubus, this crazy ass hoe. She's going to take all your money, man. There's something not right about that girl. She's going to ruin you, okay? He says this to 2 million people or whatever, dude. And it's like, and she's sitting there like, what the fuck? They think I really wrote a book on how to capture a young athlete. It was a fucking joke. And everybody in the world believed that this book was real and it was a fucking joke for sure. Put yourself in her position, and if you can't kind of be like, oh damn, if that doesn't make you go, oh damn, then that's kind of sociopathic, dude, because she for sure was joking and everybody attacked her like it was real. And if it was real, it would be pretty fucking crazy. Like, people attacked her like it was real, but it's not. It's 100% not. Disproven. Fucking story disproven. The How to Be a WAG book 100% was a joke. And listen, dude, that story had run its course. Everybody got the views from it, dude. Everybody already got those views. You're not getting any more views on How to Be a WAG. So now we can at least tell the truth and say that, yeah, no. But anyway, here's what I wanted to show you now. So I went to the comment section, right? And I was like, let's see how many people have found this. Only 27 total comments, probably not very many, right? So I go to newest, and here are the total amount of people. Okay, so here's this 2 years ago right here, right? I love this woman more than life itself. So, whoa, that's crazy. And then someone came here to hate. You need to improve the quality of your life if you're in love with a married woman who also lives with her ex-husband and manipulates both of them. Because I know everything because I read it on the internet. So like if you go to this guy's page, nothing here. That's interesting. But this is the point. I wanted to go and check out like what kind of people like got upset enough that they would, after watching this video, would still act like this was real. Because you know what I mean? Like who would be in the comments after seeing this video and watching it and then not connect the dots that obviously the WAG thing's a joke, which should implode the entire theory about this girl, you would think. And so I wanted to look. Now, so this dude writes, now you are ruining Ian Garry's life. And I was really hoping that this person would have some kind of information that would make himself like, where I'd be like, well, this is the kind of person. He didn't. This one though, right here, this guy posted a link, right, to the video of Sean Strickland being like, man, we got to get her away from this cuck. We got to get her away. Jeez, people calling me. We got to get her away from, or we got to get this cuck away from this succubus. Okay, like, so that's what this is. And I'm like, what kind of person would do that, right? Well, let me show you. If you click on this, it will take you to this page right here. Okay, so this is, Martin 400. And I think that this is the person who did it, but he actually has some content up. Okay, like, so I'm looking at, I'm like, I don't understand. So it's like some dude who goes hiking, like lives out in the woods and he's like rubbing Layla Anna Lee's face in the fact that she's getting attacked by what? You know what I mean? Like usually when people fuck with people online, you never get any kind of glimpse into who they are. But like this time I'm like, this dude goes on road trips and like, look, he goes on road trips and he's like, here's me at the beach. Here's my lady friend. Here's me. There's some water behind me. Here's me and my lady. Here's a racetrack. This is our trip. Here's my lady. There's a castle. Here's me and a castle. Learn to smile, brother. Smile, it'll make you happier. Anyway, so yeah, that's the kind of person. I don't know if you guys think that's interesting, but I did. And I think I don't even know if there are any more. Like this one, I didn't really understand. Kind of like Andrew Tate saying, I only did the cam studio for shits and giggles. Having to explain yourself says enough in and of itself. See, I am pretty sure that this person thought that this was some kind of response to the WAG book story, and he failed to look and see that this was from 3 years ago, So, yeah, let's see what this guy's all about. Oh, it's Jerome. All right, well, me and this guy. Going into the Ian Garry fight, I was surprised by how much I wanted him to win. I was like very nervous during that fight. Really, really wanted him to win. And I'm like, it's partially because I said I think he's going to be a world champion after the Neil Magny fight. Now, let me just also make perfectly clear. I thought what he did to Neil Magny was reprehensible, Like the only thing that Ian Garry's done that I really was like, dude, fuck that guy. Like the only thing was the Neil Magny thing. Neil Magny, an American hero, lifelong career military guy, makes some off the cuff, kind of stupid comment in the presser, like that literally is meant to say Ian Garry's very young and I'm an old veteran. And he says, I'm gonna have to give him a whooping. Sometimes you give a whooping to a guy like this, but I'm gonna give him a whooping like a kid that you got to teach a lesson to. And Ian Garry's all, oh, you're a child abuser, son? I'm gonna bury this guy because he abuses children. You're like, yeah, I don't think he was really saying that he condones abusing children. And then Neil Magny had to fight against that in his custody court. That shit really pissed me off. I mean, Like that, Ian Garry deserved the flack that he got from that for sure. But the stuff with his wife and the kids and all that, like I obviously partake in some of it because honestly, I just love making fun of people and I can't help myself. The story about the elevator, you know, is really funny and ridiculous about you should attack Hamzat. I'm going to say pretty clearly, I know the story. I know what happened there now too. And I'll come to that as well. But it was a salacious story. Like I get how the internet works. I get how people's impressions of things works. Like we're all bored out of our mind, dude. You know, like this is really entertaining. All of this stuff is really entertaining. There's a reason why Us Weekly, you know, was the number one magazine for all days. Like, oh, Britney Spears is having sex with her backup dancer. What a whore. Britney, why don't you jump on a dick that's at least your caliber? Fucking backup dancers. I mean, Jesus, get a life. She shaves her head. They're all, when do you think Britney's going to... Whoa, I'm not allowed to say that on YouTube. Killer sleeves, you know? And so when a story comes out that looks like we caught this chick who's 40, she swooped up on this young up-and-coming fighter. She wrote a manual on capturing professional athletes and then milking them for money. And then everyone's like, damn. And then 2 seconds later, they're like, and by the way, her ex-husband lives with him. She tricked this dumbass motherfucker to let her husband move in, and she's probably getting worked behind the scenes. He's probably working her over something. Now, let me just say, I have no idea what's going on over there. None. But certainly part of the impression of what was going on over there was based on the How to Be a WAG book, right? But when you couple that with the story about the husband living with them and all of that, you get chance of Ian is a cuck while he's fighting. And now that the event is over and Ian won his fight, I can just tell you, I think that's hilarious, right? Like at the time, I didn't think it was that funny because, you know, it's like, let the guy fight. That's basically where I was at all fight week. Was stop bullying this dude. Just let him fight. Okay. If he wins, then we can tease him. But what I realized watching Fight Week was, oh, there's like a completely different thing going on here. I think we're teasing him because it's funny because he tells everybody that he's the best ever, whatever. And he seems strong enough to be able to take us fucking with him. Right. And you know, like I'm not a perfect person. I like making fun of people, him included and his wife, you know. But watching Fight Week, I'm like, oh, these people like really hate this guy. Like they like hate him. They're not joking around. They genuinely want him to lose. They're yelling cuck because they want him to lose. They're being mean. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, that kind of changes my feelings on it because now I feel like I'm dogpiling on this dude, which I don't like doing. I like teasing people and making everyone laugh. I like making fake interviews with Ben Askren and pretending that he had sex with a 13-year-old, Daniel Bergoli. That's funny to me, you know? Oh, you think it's funny to pretend that Ben Askren had sex with a child? I do. I do think that's funny. Yes, I do. Like I said, I'm not a perfect person, but I definitely thought that was funny. And you're complaining that we booed Ian Garry. I'm like, well, it's just one of those things where like he's fighting for his life in there this weekend. And it's kind of like, all right, guys, like let the guy at least fight. Then we can, you know, mess around with him. So I don't like feeling like a bully, and so I started to feel like Ian Garry's getting bullied. But now that he won the fight, I can say that's funny that everyone was chanting cuck. Again, though, we also got an explanation for why the husband lives with them because they never addressed it when it first came out. They like pretended like it wasn't true or whatever, but Ian Garry finally just directly addressed why that is going on, and I'll talk about that in a second too. But that's a salacious story, so I understand exactly why it went viral. I have no idea, like, why Ian Garry could have possibly gotten to the point of we hate Ian Garry. Like, I genuinely don't understand it. It's like all of this really started, like, he really started getting hate when it was the WAG book and the, and the X or whatever. It's like, okay, but under normal circumstances, let's just say that all of that was accurate. Generally, the reaction from the public is kind of like, save Ian Garry, like save Ian Garry from this crazy girl who's sucking his life down. That's generally how these things go. I have not seen before where they're like, oh my God, this succubus got this guy, and they're all, yeah, so fuck that guy. And you're like, I've never seen that before. And I don't understand it because he just looks like a delusionally overconfident, arrogant kid to me is kind of like how he comes off. He doesn't seem like a bad guy to me at all, you know, like he really doesn't. Even with the Neil Magny thing, he just looks like he looks like a naive imbecile. I'm like, you really think he was saying he's going to beat up kids? And he's like, I just look at that. I'm like, did you think through that saying that about this guy is going to not wash off? Like, you called him a child beater, dude. Like, I don't think he's going in there like, I'm going to ruin this guy. He just looks dumb. Like, he looks like, hello, guy. Obviously, he didn't mean beat kids. So I don't understand all the hate. And also, I just didn't feel like we had ever seen his, his resolve or his mental toughness tested. So what I will say is the level of negativity that he dealt with going into that fight last night was definitely going to provide a glimpse into what this kid's made out of in terms of pressure, because that guy's life was on the line last night 100%. If he goes in there, given the circumstances, and he gets starched, he is never going to recover from that, right? He's never going to recover from that. Not in terms of the way he thinks about it, which is a fast ascent and then ultimately the champion. Like, Ian Garry's not a guy where his story is going to be, you know, he was on his ascension and then he was knocked down and then he focused and came back up. Like, this guy is a front runner. He's either going to go all the way or he's not going to. Like, this, I'm at least at the person I'm looking at, that's this kid's story. He's either going to, or he's going to get knocked down and he won't ever get there. It's probably what I think. And I think he's going to get there, though. I do. But, so yeah, I mean, if he would have gotten starched last night, he's fucked completely. And people would have eaten him alive. Absolutely eaten him alive, right? So I was rooting for him to win because, I don't like the direction that this thing, I don't like how far negative this thing went. And also, I feel like, I'm not saying that everybody who was booing him understands that they were, you know, rooting, like, if they really were rooting for him to get knocked out, that they were genuinely rooting for this kid's life to be completely ruined. Or maybe there's a thing where people think celebrities are not actually real people. So they're like, yeah, I want his life ruined. You're like, but do you? Hey, do you want your next door neighbor's life ruined? He's arrogant. And they're like, no. And you're like, why not? They're all, I don't know. That's crazy. You're like, so you want Ian Garry's life ruined. You want his dreams shut down, but not your next door neighbor who's the same, you know, like, anyway, it doesn't matter. Because what ended up happening was Ian Garry showed absolutely incredible mental fortitude and he fought an incredibly smart fight. He didn't let the crowd get in his head at all. He fought the exact strategic fight that he set out to accomplish. And I think by doing that, he demonstrated that the crowd can't affect his mental state because they were booing. And listen, I've been to enough events to tell you unequivocally, if it appears like there's not someone getting punched in the face enough, the crowd will boo in person, right? Or at the very least, I like when people do the Ric Flair. The Ric Flair is kind of like a compromise, you know? Because like hardcores hate when people boo fighters. Just hate it, right? Like absolutely hate it. But so the woo means I'm bored, but it's not disrespectful, right? With that, like if you're like a person who goes to events, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That's kind of the middle ground. It's like if it's boring, everybody starts going woo, woo, woo. They do it every single event. Every single event. That's the I'm bored without booing. But anyway, I don't know. I mean, like, he was getting booed and apparently yelled cuck, and he still stuck to his game plan and looked tremendous doing it. His footwork really was incredible. I heard people they're like Joe Rogan and them were making Ian Garry sound like he was incredible when like he didn't even do anything. It's like, dude, he was incredible. What the fuck are you talking about? He looked amazing. Like, I don't know. It's like literally, this is the kind of thing that I don't understand. Okay, job number one in mixed martial arts is to not get punched, right? You're playing tag, like you're playing tag. If Ian Garry, one of those knees, right? Like one of the knees he threw up the middle, knocks out Jeff Neal, which it very easily could have. He landed great knees. Then everyone goes, oh my God, he is absolutely incredible. So you're talking about like a millimeter to the left and he knocks him out. And then all of a sudden they're like, he's absolutely unreal. But like instead he just hurts him and does a really good job of staying away and not taking damage. And everyone's all, oh my God, he sucks, man. Why is everyone saying that he's good? It's like, well, because he is good. But nonetheless, I mean, honestly, like I'm saying, I think the fact that he had to go the full fight, didn't get rattled, didn't change his game plan, and looked very, very good doing it is a great indicator for the future of his career.